They don't control you by force. They don't need chains. They don't need walls. They don't need laws written in bold letters. They don't need to stop you. They just shape what you want, because once they control your desire, they never have to control your behavior. You will move in the direction they want while believing you chose it. You will call it preference. You will call it personality. You will call it lifestyle. You will call it just being realistic. But it was designed not to free you, to stabilize you, to slow you, to make you predictable. And predictable people are easy to manage. This is the real system, not rules, not authority, not power structures you can see. Desire. Because desire decides direction, and direction decides destiny. Most people think control looks aggressive. They imagine force, they imagine restriction, they imagine someone telling them no. That's outdated control, that's inefficient. Modern control doesn't tell you what not to do. It tells you what to want. It doesn't block exits. It makes exits unattractive, lonely, unstable, risky, unapproved. So people stay, not because they're trapped, because they're calibrated. You were never meant to feel imprisoned. That would cause resistance. You were meant to feel normal, comfortable, busy, entertained, validated, stable. That's the sweet spot. A population that feels free but never actually leaves. Look closely at what you want, not what you say you want, what you actually pursue. Comfort, security, approval, stability, predictability, entertainment, status without power, success without ownership. None of these are evil, but none of these create leverage. They create dependence. They create routines. They create ceilings. And ceilings don't need guards when people refuse to look up. This is the part that hurts most people's ego. You are not limited by intelligence. You are not limited by effort. You are not limited by discipline. You are not limited by opportunity. You are limited by what you've been trained to want, because desire filters reality. If you want comfort, you will reject anything uncomfortable. If you want stability, you will avoid anything volatile. If you want approval, you will avoid anything controversial. If you want safety, you will reject leverage. Not logically, emotionally, before thought even enters the room. This is why most people never escape. Not because escape is impossible, but because escape doesn't match their desire profile. Ownership feels risky. Leverage feels unstable. Asymmetry feels irresponsible. Volatility feels dangerous. So when opportunity shows up, they don't see it as opportunity. They see it as threat. They say things like, "That's not realistic, that's not stable, that's risky, that's not normal, that's not responsible." Those are not logical arguments. Those are conditioning responses. That is the system speaking through preference. The system doesn't need obedience. It needs alignment. It doesn't need you to follow rules. It needs you to want the right things. Because when desire aligns with containment, there is no rebellion, only participation. You participate willingly. You optimize yourself for it. You compete inside it. You measure yourself by it. You judge others by it. You don't feel trapped. You feel productive. That's the genius of it. A system you defend, a structure you justify, a game you glorify. Not because you're forced, because you were trained to want it. This is why distraction is so valuable. Entertainment isn't accidental. Dopamine isn't random. Constant stimulation keeps desire shallow. Shallow desire never asks dangerous questions. It never asks, why am I here? Why am I chasing this? Why does this feel empty? Why does freedom feel scary? Deep thinking creates friction. Friction creates awareness. Awareness threatens alignment. So the system doesn't suppress thought, it drowns it. You're allowed to choose, but only from a pre-approved menu, approved careers, approved ambitions, approved lifestyles, approved success metrics, different options, same ceiling, different cages, same structure. One just has better lighting. Most people confuse movement with progress. They're busy, they're tired, they're stressed, they're optimizing, but they're not moving vertically, they're moving laterally inside the same box. Effort doesn't break systems. Positioning does, ownership does, leverage does, asymmetry does, but those require a desire shift, because no system can save you if your internal OS is still calibrated for comfort. This is why motivation fades. This is why discipline collapses. This is why people start projects and quietly return to safety. They didn't fail. Their desire structure pulled them back like gravity, because gravity doesn't argue, it just pulls. Real awakening is not anger, it's not rebellion, it's not obsession, it's not rage, it's recognition. The moment you realize, I don't want what I want because I chose it. I want what I want because I was trained to. That moment is dangerous, because now you can audit desire. Now you can ask, why does comfort feel necessary? Why does risk feel threatening? Why does instability scare me? Why does ownership feel heavy? Why does leverage feel irresponsible? Those questions we can control, because control lives in the unseen. Reprogramming desire is the real work, not hustling harder, not grinding longer, not optimizing productivity. Training yourself to want control over comfort, ownership over approval, leverage over effort, assets over attention, systems over salaries, volatility over stagnation. At first, this feels wrong, because freedom feels wrong to a conditioned mind. Comfort feels right because it's familiar. Familiar doesn't mean optimal. Familiar means repeated. You don't escape systems by fighting them. You outgrow them internally first, because behavior follows desire and desire follows identity. No new strategy works with an old identity. You will sabotage it. You will rationalize quitting. You will retreat to safety, not because you're weak, because alignment is powerful and misalignment is exhausting. System doesn't trap you. It trains what you want, and what you want determines where you go. Not intelligence, not effort, not motivation. Desire, that's the control layer. So the escape isn't rebellion, it's realignment. Internal before external, mental before structural, desire before strategy. You don't need permission to leave. You don't need approval to build leverage. You don't need validation to choose ownership. But you do need one thing, a new desire structure, because until you want freedom more than comfort, you will always choose the cage, not because you're trapped, because you were trained. And the most effective prison in the world is the one you want to stay inside.